5 First Nations from Canada are teaming up with British climate activists. The plan is to stop tar sands development in Alberta. They call it Canada's bloody oil. 5 Indigenous representatives and UK climate activists will join together to voice their concerns. Clayton Thomas Mueller is from the Indigenous Environmental Network. He joined us earlier from our Ottawa bureau. Mr. Thomas Mueller, I want to thank you for speaking to us and welcome to our show today.
Thank you very much for having me be a part of the program.
Now, why did you decide to take this anti-tar protest over to the United Kingdom?
Well, in my capacities as the Indigenous tar sands campaign organizer with the North American network and known as the Indigenous Environmental Network, we have been supporting First Nations, American Indian, and Alaska Native nations that are affected by the world's largest and most destructive project known as the tar sands, the beating heart of which, of course, is located in the traditional territory of Dene and Cree and Métis communities in northern Alberta, around the community of Fort McMurray. And so one of the big players that is emerging here in Canada's tar sands, of course, is British Petroleum, who has for the last couple of years been touting itself as beyond petroleum, but in recent months has recently fired their renewables CEO and downsized their renewables program, but actually announced expansion of their operation in Canada's tar sands. Now, BP has a long legacy of oil spills, gas flaring, and other destructive operations in the traditional territory of Alaska Natives on the North Slope of Alaska and Inupiaq territory. And we know that we cannot trust them to not take this same type of corporate profiteering to Alberta, into Cree and Dene and Métis territory. And so what we're doing right now through the Canadian Indigenous Tar Sands campaign is partnering up with the London Climate Camp, which is the largest mobilization of climate justice activists in the United Kingdom. They're expecting over 6,000 people to converge on the City of London over the next week for a week of direct actions and workshops and plenaries and movie premieres aimed at raising the profile of the issue of climate change and linking it to the main driver of climate change, which of course is the fossil fuel regime. And right. You know, BP is definitely one of the main leading global greenhouse gangsters.
So I take it you're leaving tomorrow, and a lot of this gets started on August the 28th. So that's what you're talking about, a lot of these films and workshops and whatnot. That's what's going to start happening on August the 28th?
Well, there'll be an incredible amount of things going on all across the City of London. There have been multiple climate criminals that have been targeted that are based out of London, including Shell, including some of the major financial institutions like HSBC, like London's Barclays and the Royal Bank of Scotland, all of which are invested very heavily in British Petroleum and all of which are invested very heavily in Canada's tar sands. And so the Indigenous Environmental Network and our UK-based partners platform, which is an NGO that does campaigning around getting fossil fuel, getting finance institutions out of fossil fuel, as well as New Internationalize, a progressive social movements magazine, are going to be conducting a week of workshops, plenary presentations at the climate camp, as well as doing a special screening just for participants of the London Climate Camp of the movie H2 Oil, produced, written, and directed by Shannon Walsh, a movie producer out of Montreal, which features the impacts of tar sands on Alberta's water. And so all in all, it'll be a week of activities aimed at educating citizens in the UK about why UK banks and UK-based British Petroleum needs to get the heck out of tar sands and needs to stop destroying the sacred water, land, and air of Dene, Cree, and Métis peoples living in northern Alberta.
Okay, well, on that note, Mr. Thomas Mueller, I want to thank you for your thoughts on this, and we'll probably get an update when you come back from the UK. And once again, thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you so much for having me. For more information, please check out our website, www.ienearth.org/CITS. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thanks.